Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Since it's Mother's Day weekend, I wanted to take some time to share with you my children and a little bit about my experience of what it's like to lose a child. And then I also want to take some time and acknowledge those of you who are grieving your own mothers and what that's like this weekend, and maybe give you some ideas of what you could do to celebrate them. So, my son Jackson Robert was born in 2010, and he would be 9 years old this year. So, so wonderful, the time that I got to spend with him. So, I spent 42 days and nights with him. He was born prematurely, about a full 3 months too soon. So, he was 27 weeks. And I got to spend that time with him, and I'm forever grateful for getting to know him, because he did have a personality. He was a whole person, and even though he was teeny tiny, so he was born and he was 2.2 pounds at birth. And during the time that we had him, he had doubled his weight, so he was up more than 4 pounds before he passed away. So I wanted to show you him. So this is my favorite photo of him. We had these pictures taken by an organization called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, and they are an amazing organization of wonderful people who volunteer their time to go to NICUs, to go to hospitals where children are on the brink of death, and they take beautiful photos that we as mothers can keep and cherish. And they're photos that honestly we wouldn't have if they hadn't done it. And what's crazy is that during this time, it was 2 days before Jackson was back on life support. So at the time he had basically just a CPAP machine. So it was something that helped him breathe and gave him more oxygen. But this was the first time with these photos that I ever got to see his full face, because for the most of the time, you can see here on this one, he has something on his face, and so I couldn't see his whole face. So this was the first time that I really got to see his whole face without any tubes, and that makes it really, really special. And I have just a couple more pictures that I just wanted to share because they're amazing. And again, just more shots of him, because I want to celebrate him, because he's amazing. And the love that I have for him, I really have a hard time putting it into words, but it's part of the reason why I do these videos. It's part of the reason why I formed Grief Inspired. It's part of the reason why I call myself a grief survivor, because I am a grief survivor. And if you've lost a child and you're watching this video, you are a grief survivor too. So know that, hold on to that, and cherish that. Many people who have lost a child will often think, well, that they don't deserve to celebrate Mother's Day, or they don't want to celebrate Mother's Day because it's just too sad. I like to look at grief differently. I think that when you're looking at grief, you can choose to look at the pain, you can choose to look at the loss, you can choose to look at what you don't have, right? And what you're lacking and what you wish you had, and you can really get stuck in that pain. And I think there's a certain amount of time where that's valid. But I also think that on the flip side of that you can shift your focus and you can celebrate what you did have. You can celebrate what they brought into your life, what you learned from having them around. So Jackson was much sicker than he looked in this photo. And like I said, a couple days later, he went on life support. And the doctors told us that he wasn't going to get any better. And I had to decide as his mother, do I choose to end life support, or do I let him try to hold on for a few more days or a week or a month? I didn't know. And we had an experience where he was very close to death, and they did revive him, and I was nowhere to be found. They pushed me out of the way, and I couldn't be with him. And I didn't want that for him. I didn't want him to suffer. I didn't want him to pass on without him being in my arms, without knowing that I was there for him. And I think that that was the moment when I learned what it was to be a mother, because I chose to end life support rather than worry about what I was feeling and how much I wanted to keep him, and I just wanted to be with him, and I didn't want to let him go. But I chose to let him go, and we chose to end life support because as a mother, that's what you do. You sacrifice what you have, you sacrifice what you want, what you need, because you know that it's better for your child. And to me, that's what Mother's Day is about. And that's why I tear up about it. I tear up not because I'm sad. I tear up because I have so much love for him. And I feel pain knowing, right? I feel pain, but I know that I did the right thing for him. And I did what a good mother would do. And I did my best. And it's not like I don't question it. And sometimes I question, did I do the right thing? But again, none of us are perfect. If we're mothers, we're definitely not perfect, and we know this. So if you've lost a child this weekend, I just want to let you know that I get it, that you don't have to grieve alone, that it's okay to be sad, but also take some time to celebrate what you did have. Even if it was only a few moments, those few moments are a gift and a memory that you can hold on to, and they're the love that you have and had for your son or your daughter or your children, and that's really special. So I also, I'm very fortunate that I now have a 6-year-old little boy, and his name is Mason Peter, and here he is. This is his recent school photo with his Avengers shirt, which he loves. We're having a construction party for him. His birthday is just next week, where he'll be turning 6. And as a mother, and speaking about Mother's Day weekend, I am, in my opinion, and this is again another way that I think about grief differently and what Grief Inspired is about, I am a better mother to my existing son because of my loss of Jackson. I sometimes am, I acknowledge and I recognize how fleeting life can be. And I do my best to be present with him in the moment and to cherish the little things. It's the little moments that really bring us fulfillment. The snuggle in the morning, because he still likes to snuggle, which I'm forever grateful for. The way he laughs when he hears something that's really silly and that just, hits him just right and thinks it's hysterical. And the way we sit together at the end of the night before he goes to sleep and read stories. These are moments that I didn't get to have with my son Jackson, and that makes him so much more special because I do get to have those moments, and I'm grateful. And the gratitude that I remind myself of every day in my gratitude journal, comes out. And there isn't a day when he's not on that gratitude page, because his health and his happiness and his personality and his smartness and the way he's so nice to other people and such a good friend, those are all gifts. And he is a gift. And I know that. And I am a lucky mother to have known one son and to have another existing son. So I'm very fortunate that I still have my mother, and she is still alive and doing really, really well, and I'm unbelievably grateful for that. For those of you who are grieving your mothers, It's got to be hard. I haven't experienced it, so I'm not going to speak a lot to it, but I can acknowledge how challenging it must be, because I can't even imagine not being able to pick up the phone and call my mom, or being able to, visit her and see her. It would be, and it is going to be, really difficult for me. So I want to acknowledge that. I want to suggest, though, if you are missing your mom this weekend or missing your child, I want you to find ways to take the weekend to celebrate them. I bought myself a little well, it's actually a big candle. I bought myself this candle this weekend, and I'm going to keep it lit most of the weekend just to continue to remind me what I'm grateful for, and to be grateful for my mom, who is okay now, my son, who is okay now, and how special my son Jackson, who's in heaven, how that relationship is, because the relationship doesn't end. Your relationship with your mother doesn't end, even though she's passed on. That love exists. And so I'd like you to hold on to that love. Keep it close to you this weekend. Spend some time thinking of her, talking to her, remembering her and all the wonderful things that you do remember. And I want to encourage you to take some time, and as an act of celebration, as an act of honor, as an act of hope, please share your story about your mother here. Tell us her name. Tell us what you loved most about her. And then tell us what impact she had on your life, and how your life is more special because you knew her, specifically her, and what she brought into your world. So please write that here. I want to hear your stories. I would love to hear your stories. That's what Grief Inspired is about, is taking your grief, internalizing the grief, understanding your grief, moving through the grief, not moving on, but moving forward, and creating something really special, and enhancing the relationship you have and still have with your loved one, even if they're not here. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Grief Inspired. Look for my website, which is also griefinspired.com. Check out my Facebook groups. I do have a closed support group where, if you don't want to share openly and you want to share in a smaller subset of people, please do so there. I monitor that and keep it very close. That's Grief Inspired, what you need to know about grief. So my name's Catherine McNulty, and I want you to be grief inspired too. Please have a joyous and blessed Mother's Day, and take some time to honor yourself, to honor your mother, to honor your life that you still have. Take care.